All right, guys, you have your rules.
The logo. I'll work with you.
Okay. You have your things to keep your mind on in terms of how the conversation will go. You have your question. Should the court have overturned Minersville v. Gobitis in its Barnett case? All right, go have a seminar.
I think my group was sort of talking about how, about how we sort of feel uncomfortable with the idea of judges just sort of like revisiting and striking down precedent willy-nilly, or just being out to get precedent as like part of their judicial philosophy, but that when a case comes out of the American public and makes it all the way to the Supreme Court that appears to be facing the same issue and showing that we're still having this issue despite the precedent, like that's a time to really revisit that principle. And I think even though there's like only a 3-year margin between these two cases, it's a really big 3 years. And like we're sort of the end of World War II is possibly in sight. Like we've seen what the Nazi society looks like, what their sort of coerced patriotism and mass patriotism looks like, and I think we just have a very different opinion on like what a unified country looks like, and so I think like it seems like this was a justified overturn.
So just to clarify,
Yeah.
You're saying that these years added to insight that require the court to overturn a previous law.
Yes, but I think enough of an insight that it doesn't seem like a random, emotional overturn. That these 3 years have been a very transformative experience for America, and like there's good reason to revisit some of what we thought was true before.
Adding on to that a bit, I think like they should definitely be also looking at the evidence that led the first court to establish the precedent, the case to begin with, and then incorporating new developments within these 3 years, for example, and then making a ruling based off of that.
So a question for like the general class is, if the status quo had stayed through those 3 years, if nothing, no big new evidence had changed, we hadn't gotten into the war or whatever, all these big factors that we say were relevant to the reversal of Gobitis, if none of those had happened, if it just been the same for 3 years, and suddenly the court felt like Gobitis was wrong, should they still have been able to overturn it?
They felt like it was wrong, you said?
They just it was like, oh, we've changed our minds, it's not correct anymore.
I feel like the job of the court a lot is to uphold the Constitution, and at least the job in judicial review is to uphold the Constitution and strike down laws that contradict it. And if a law contradicts the Constitution, then it should be struck down. And I think like what Ben said about like outside effects, I also disagree with that, because I just think like 3 years, although massive change came over the country, is just a very short period of time, and all like that like, and it also just seems to me like if the court is acting like they could have been reversing a decision that we liked to go to a decision that we didn't like, and if court's just being that fickle with their decisions, then because they think the political atmosphere has changed, I think that doesn't make them a court as much.
But it's also interesting that we feel like it's fickle if they change whatever they want, but it's also fickle if they only stick to precedent and don't consider changing ever, which seems strange to me, because before I could only see that it would be fickle if you change it willy-nilly, as you said.
I don't think that it has to be that or black and white. Like I think you can have like a mix of both. Like I think, for example, with a Plessy via Ferguson, you have 50 years of concrete evidence that separate and equal is not equal, and the ramifications that can have on a society. So I think in that case it's justified for overturning it. except I think in this case it's not, because yes, while like 3 years is like 3 years